Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the OUCHCAST. With us, as always, we have George.
What's going on, everybody?
Closer to the mic, George.
Closer.
We have Enrique.
Descending into outer space through this lovely landscape of music.
And we have Doyle.
This music is perfect because I put way too much sugar in my Kool-Aid. And I am high as a kite right now.
Welcome to the ASMR episode of OUCHCAST.
And you guys, that was nasty.
I'm not high anymore.
I'm low. I'm way low now.
Yeah, don't get me started on the ASMR shit. That stuff, I don't get it.
What is it? What does it even stand for?
It's bullshit. Audio, sensory.
So
I don't give a fuck.
okay,
That's
so
what it is.
Got you.
ASMR is interesting because, like anything else, you put something on the internet, eventually someone's going to turn it into pornography, right? That's the problem, because ASMR, as in and of itself, we all experience it and we all like it. Like at some level, when the hairs on your arm and the back of your neck sort of stand up when you hear certain sounds, and sometimes those sounds are pleasurable, but not necessarily meaning you want to jack off to it. But sounds should be calming and relaxing, and that's what ASMR is supposed to do. But somebody out there decided to turn it into like sexy time, and
I honestly did not know they turned it into sexy time.
Oh,
this is the first time I'm hearing about it because I've seriously never watched a video or none of it. I heard about it, and then I actually heard some of it, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I don't know.
Dude, for the same reason we like music, sounds are pleasurable, and scientifically even proven that we react to certain vibrations and tones. I'm not talking like in a space way kind of way, but I'm talking about like more in a sort of brainwave kind of way. Our brains synchronize really well to certain sounds. It's the reason why studies have shown that when you study, you should be listening to classical music, not Iron Maiden, but classical music, because what it does is your brainwaves will harmonize with the sounds of either the strings on a violin, and so it'll make it easier for you to retain information, because your essentially your brainwaves are being harmonized with those, and it calms things down, makes information easier to retain. So right. Yeah, of course, ASMR it's a good thing that's been sexualized like anything else.
Everything sexualized these days.
Yes, sir.
Bunch of
except
perverts.
for Doyle. Doyle's never sexualized. Doyle's too pure.
Yeah.
God, damn, Enrique, I told you already. Stop.
He's in search of the blue butthole.
Okay.
No, we're not.
When did
not
it turn from
there.
the blue hole into the blue butthole? It's sometime between the last episode and this one.
Yeah.
Somebody apparently got closer to the truth.
I guess so.
Truth out there.
What was that? That movie? Is this a metaphor for the mystery of the Blue Lagoon, or what was that movie?
Return of the Blue Lagoon. And the Blue Lagoon.
Okay,
I'm
guys,
not returning to no
anybody
lagoon.
watch that movie, man? You guys are all pedos.
Dude,
Pedos, I say.
the first one was Brooke Shields. The second one was Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I've ever actually seen either one.
I did. The first one was okay. The second one was very disturbing.
Brooke Shields was like 14 when she made that movie.
Was she? I thought she was
she
like 16.
She was young.
I thought she was like 16.
And she's walking around topless, and at some point she gets pregnant by her brother.
Yeah, by her brother.
I mean, dude,
Whoa.
that's a messed up. It's a messed up movie.
Yeah, and then they're like, I don't know what's wrong.
I know what's wrong. Who made it?
You're dirty. Okay.
It's like the opening of Umbrella Academy, the first episode.
It's been a while. I haven't remembered.
Who directed it? Was it Brett Ratner? Sick freak.
No, it was before.
The same guy who directed Kids.
Oh, God.
I forgot his name.
That's another disturbing movie.
That explained everything.
That's another disturbing movie.
Jeez.
But, I mean, going back to the whole brother-sister thing, that's just, how do they, I mean, I get it. It's for the story, for the plot, but it's still like, oh, dude. You couldn't get away with that today.
You shouldn't get away with
What
it
are you
ever.
talking about? Did you not see Game of Thrones?
Oh,
yeah.
I stand corrected.
Facts.
Stand corrected. But, yeah, it's funny. Ugh. Gross.
Hey, how about this? Do you guys hear that they were, I don't know how true it is, but rumor mill-wise, Warner Brothers was considering reshooting season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones?
They should have.
They should, but I doubt they'll do it. They should.
You know what they should do with the Jon Snow spinoff that they're making right now? They should make it where he wakes up at 7 and 8, we're all a dream,
Alright.
and it just continues the story. I'd be down with that. I'd be like, that's
If
cool.
they wanted to reboot Game of Thrones, that's the way to do it. Is to make it like, oh, well, 7 and 8 never actually happened because it was like someone's figment of their imagination.
That's a
jacked
whole
up
trope, though. Like in
Yeah.
the 80s, there was I think
Roseanne.
no, well, yes, no, but no, but the first recording of it was a soap opera. Where a guy wakes up or a girl wakes up and everything that happened like for like a year or two was all a dream, and after that it basically it's turned into a trope where whenever you want to get
Jump
rid
the
of
shark.
something, you're just like
It was a dream.
It was a dream all along.
If it's done in a way that like what comes from it isn't crap, then I'll accept it every time.
The door is gone.
I need to wake up from this nightmare we call Star Wars: The Newest Trilogy.
Yeah,
I tell you that right now.
agreed.
I could erase that from my memory.
The newest trilogy and then the newest shows, they completely shat all over the original,
Well, Book of
canon-wise.
Boba? Book of Boba?
Book of Boba,
I didn't watch it.
Obi-Wan.
Hey, wait, whoa,
No,
whoa.
I disagree with that.
That
No,
crap-
I will.
Obi-Wan crapped all over
Wait.
the original trilogies.
Okay.
No.
The
You know
fact
what?
that
You know
Reva
what?
is around
You
completely
know what?
shits on
You know what?
everything.
You know what? I agree with George.
Nah.
I agree with George because of the fact that there's a lot of things. There's like, you're telling me, Princess Leia, that you knew Obi-Wan this whole time, and then when he dies in A New Hope, you're like, oh, it's okay, Luke. You okay? Aww.
Right? She
So-
was closer to him than Luke.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me just go on record to say this. I understand those points, and I agree with those points. However, as an experience overall, when you're watching Obi-Wan, that detail towards the end of Obi-Wan in Darth,
Yeah.
if you're doing a one-off, because a lot of this it goes into that Legends type stuff,
Right.
and there's even a story within Legends that Leia gets her mind wiped. So that part.
Still, does Darth get his mind wiped?
No.
To go ahead and deliver the lines like, this is, like, we've been waiting, basically, like,
Forever.
So
yeah.
In reality, it's only 10 years.
how old is Leia supposed to be in the Obi-Wan series?
11.
She's
No,
11. 10 or 11.
something
Okay.
like that, yeah.
So, like, at 10 or 11, my closest relationships besides my family and friends was, like, my teachers. And I know my teachers. I was with them for, 6, 7 months. If one of them died today, I would be like, oh, that's sad, and then move on.
But have any of your teachers actually, like, saved your life
Well,
and been
yeah.
in some crazy
Arguably,
thing? I think that you would be a lot closer.
Through a
Maybe, maybe
traumatizing,
not, but
through a traumatizing
No,
event
but
in
see,
your life.
but no,
But if her memory gets wiped at some point when she's a teenager or whatever, then that goes out the window. Then that theory all makes sense. Whatever, yada yada yada. You said she was closer to. You know what? We are totally spoiling the show for anyone who
If
hasn't
you
watched
haven't
it.
seen
Oh,
it,
no,
No,
if they
no,
haven't
you
watched
can't
it
say
by
that.
now.
Because that's been like a month, you
You
guys.
know what?
That's been like a month.
it's
Not
it-
if
everyone,
you were a fan,
People
you were going to
yeah,
watch it.
yeah.
people
No,
have
it's,
jobs,
it's
okay?
like it's going to be
Not
like 2
everyone-
months
no, not
before
everyone-
they listen to this podcast.
yeah,
so they're
not everyone
fine.
pirates everything and waits for
Hey,
it's finished like someone
hey.
in this room.
Yes, I wait, but I've seen the but I have seen the show.
Cheap
and
watch,
all I'm
says I.
saying is someone like my father who does not pirate stuff, who like is an upstanding citizen and pays for things. He just is very busy and doesn't get to watch stuff like that, and he totally would.
Well,
so
he
for
probably
people like
appreciate us letting him know that it's a steaming pile of crap.
that, well, he might watch it and not
George,
think that.
George, did you hear about the fan who actually edited the whole series into an actual feature film?
Nah.
Yeah, dude, he went back and took out all the stuff that he thought
Was
did
wrong?
not fit. Yeah, and everyone who has seen it has says it is fucking amazing. They say that it's
I'll
actually
have to go check it out.
perfect.
So
It's called Jesus Christ. I
Is it
forgot
on YouTube?
something cut. No, it's on. I'll tell you off air because I don't want it to get pulled.
gotcha.
But I'll tell it is out there. It is out there.
And I was actually gonna say that if you take the good moments of the show, it's actually better than you think.
Yeah.
Because I am a big Obi-Wan fan.
Yeah.
And there were certain details that they got about that character
They were
like
amazing.
spot on.
Oh, yeah,
And they
no.
were that's why I said I get your disagreements with the show, but the stuff that was good was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the stuff that was like, I did cringe a couple times and I did not feel it until the very end. But when I went back and saw that, like those last
You know
2
who's-
episodes, I was like, hats off to
You know whose
guys.
arc completely did not make sense?
Who's
Reva.
you've had
Look at it
you've
like
had a
this.
fucking hate boner for that person since it
Not
started.
and then not because any
Hate
of
boner.
not because of any of the dumb stuff that they're gonna try and tell you. Oh, because it's a girl, or oh, because her race, or this or that. No, it's because the damn story doesn't make sense. Look at her. Okay, I go into real spoiler territory here.
I mean,
Just go for it.
At
Just
this point, if we're
rip
gonna
the
have, if
Band-Aid
we're
off.
gonna be able to have discussions on stuff, we got to be ready to
Yeah.
Okay,
be able to
so
discuss them
Yeah,
openly.
Yeah.
She is trying to seek revenge for being a youngling, and Anakin went and straight wiped them all out. And somehow they missed her. I don't know how. Did she just pretend to play dead?
He told her.
okay.
He told her. Do you think I didn't know?
No, that part I
Darth
get.
Vader told her that.
That part I get, but I'm saying that
But-
she survives, and then her plan is...
Can I interject real
Okay,
quick?
go.
But let him finish.
Can
Point.
hold on,
want
hold on. I'm on him. He's totally right. But that's an issue that has a lot to do with Disney taking over for the fucking from Lucasfilms. They've ruined Order 66. Is it right?
Yes.
They ruined it because it's like it's supposed to be like a complete slaughter, and now with the new Disney in effect, it's like, we killed off like 80%. The rest are still alive.
Well, that makes sense to me, though.
Yeah,
It does
but
make
I,
sense.
That makes
I
sense
agree
to
with the
me.
Riva thing. I really agree with that.
You know what? It makes sense to me. But go on.
Go on.
So her initial plan is to take revenge for for all them, her family basically being slaughtered, her new family, because obviously as younglings you get taken from your family and you get trained in this and that, yada yada. So her plan is, I'm gonna go ahead and join the dark side in the Empire, and I'm gonna work my way up the ranks, and I'm gonna interrogate and kill Jedi and torture children, like what happened with Leia. She tortured her for freaking information. So all this shit that she's doing is the exact same shit that she's trying to exact revenge on Darth for doing. So as a character arc, it just makes no sense as far as being a hero. If you're just gonna
But
go off of it and say, all right, I'm gonna
you're
go through it
missing-
in order to get my revenge,
Let me
then screw it.
Let me bring it into perspective for you. And I wasn't even aware of it, but I already have a flip for you.
Uh-huh.
That's the point of the dark side. The dark side is to flip your subversion so that you're justifying your own means, and by any means necessary, you will convincingly do what you want to do, and that's the whole point of having power. That's why it says, I think, they're governed by emotion. Because
Passions
you
and
can
emotion.
you can justify your own actions. I get your disagreement and your disapproval, but in that regard, that's the point of the dark side.
So I personally do like her story arc. Initially I was on the fence about her because I wanted it to more be about Darth Vader, and so I can say that my initial dislike of the character was not because the character itself, was because I had expectations for the series going in. And so the first episode, I was like, this bitch, I don't want to watch this story. This is not interesting to me. But and then by the second episode, I'm like, oh, okay, I get this. Here's the thing. I like that they revisited the younglings, because for me, whenever I think of the first prequel series, and I know there's a whole lot of shit we can talk about the prequel series, but there was some things that were done right in it. And one of them was, the question was, how are they going to turn Anakin into a villain? How is he going to be somewhat irredeemable, so that when we see him again in A New Hope, he is this like visage of evil, and that's by killing, in a sense, killing these kids, these Jedi. So that scene to me was very powerful, but they didn't show enough of it. Right? I loved in the original trilogy when Obi-Wan tells him, even the kids, you killed everybody. I love that whole, all of that for me was very emotional, that I really bought into that battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Return Revenge of the Sith. I fully bought into it because of that scene. So to me, that was really compelling that they revisited another aspect of that, right? And the fact that they took a character who survived it, and then, yes, like Doyle says, is absolutely seduced by the dark side in order to meet a very personal revenge, and become herself the evil that she's trying to get revenge for. But it's all very personal and selfish for her. So I got that. I kind of dug that. Could it have been done differently and better? That's absolutely a point that we can definitely argue about. But I did ultimately enjoy the story arc. When Darth Vader tells her, "You think I didn't know?" To me, that just wrapped it all up very well, because it shows that Anakin Skywalker became so wrapped up in the dark that he had that he was calculating. Because for a while, Darth Vader just seems sort of like an extension of Sidious, Dark Sidious, in so much that he's just a blunt weapon to be pushed on people. But then you start to see him as being somebody who's calculating in that he's dark. Love that. Really dig that.
And you know what? At the end of the day, it's all about relationships. That's
The
what
Obi-Wan Darth Vader
Yeah,
relationship.
it's all, storytelling is about relationships and emotion. And, sometimes, like, you get caught up in relationships and emotions.
All
and
kinds. Like, the rivalry between them, they were like brothers. And then there's a whole Cain and Abel kind of underling on that.
It's relatable because we all experience those things in different ways. Maybe not to the same sci-fi drama, but absolutely, we're all seduced by our passions, and relationships are shaped.
If
by
you
them.
think about it, George, the relationship that Vader has with the Emperor, he's kind of the same. He wants to overthrow the Emperor. He tells Luke, "Me and you can take over the galaxy," because there's a part of him that gets flipped. But he slaughters how many people before he decides, I want to take out the Emperor? It is a trope of the dark side.
Interesting because they try to basically say, why couldn't the Emperor sense Vader's betrayal? And normally when you betray somebody, it's because you're doing it out of some sort of selfish, like, motivation or hatred or this or that. All things basically akin to the dark side. But the reason he couldn't sense it was because Vader betrayed him out of love for Luke, and he couldn't sense love. Essentially, he couldn't. It was foreign to him.
But I will say that I think that, but there's another side, or maybe not another side, but a counterpoint. I think that Sidious wasn't able to detect it, is because he did detect it, and I think that Sidious did know. I think that the whole point of there always being two in the Sith lore, there's always one a master and somebody. What did they say? There's always two, a master and someone, an apprentice. But the actual saying goes, and this is from all the lore, says there's always a master and somebody who wants to usurp him. In other words, that is the core tenet of the Sith relationship. Is it in the same way that we have like it's said that like as sons, our purpose with our father is to try to push our father away. We don't really come into our own until we can push our own fathers away. I think in that sense, it's a compelling story because it's the reason why we all become rebellious at some point and start.
Usually in our teenage years.
Yeah, we become rebellious and stuff, and so there's I think that there are some real dynamics in these stories, and there's some real dynamics in our relationships with each other that sort of make these things feel real.
Let me make a point about relationships. They're hard. Every which one. Friendships, family, brothers, motherly, parental, work, co-workers, and of course the main one is your own personal relationship with your spouse or significant other. They are tasking. I don't know how to say it, but it's they're really complicated. They're really hard. You guys want to talk about that? You want to touch on that?
Sure.
It's really
Speaking of complicated relationships,
paper.
Doyle news.
I got a story about a complicated relationship here.
Is it the one where the girl was putting poison in her vagina and poisoning her boyfriend little by little? Is that the one you're talking about?
That's so funny.
Okay, we'll talk about that one.
Ladies, if you would poison your vagina because you hate a man so much, please comment below. I want to know what your plan is. No, actually, this is a story about a woman who says she wants to marry an airplane. Because she says
God.
I personally think she wants the wedding to be fly. She said she wanted this relationship to take off.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay. Oh god. Why? It's always the young ones. It's always these young ones. Every single
New
story,
generation.
it's someone young, and I hate to attack the next generation, but 23-year-old Sarah Rodo is getting all the attention on the internet after claiming to be in love with a Boeing 737.
I call bullshit already.
Or
Roto?
as she likes to call it, her boyfriend. Rodo identifies as objectum sexual, meaning that she is sexually attracted to inanimate objects, according to The Sun. My plane is called Dickie.
Wow.
Is it
Jumbo Dickie.
Jumbo.
You know what? I don't think I need to read any more of this story. I think we have enough to go off of here.
I'm gonna say that I feel very bad for the rebound guy because you can't compare to a jumbo jet.
By the way,
hot dog in the hallway.
I did have a story that I was gonna bring up, but I gotta bring it in now. I have a similar story of a woman who's sexually attracted to a fence.
We've already read that story.
Did we read it?
did.
Oh
Remember,
my
guys?
God!
She was on the fence.
She was on the fence about it.
we did that when that's actually when we
my
first learned the term
God.
about what is it? Objectum. I don't know something.
Objectosexuals.
Oh yeah, sexual objectum.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Period.
Wow. Man, you know, it's crazy. We're talking about dating and relationships, and like, there's so many like messed up, toxic relationships. Like, they've actually gone public with them. Like, you guys ever watch those A&E shows, like 90 Day Fiance, or you know, like
I got addicted to 90 Day Fiance.
I can't
did.
watch those shows.
Me and my
man.
wife started watching them, and as a matter of fact, that's why I have an Instagram, because it got so bad that I had to follow them on Instagram.
is it trashy? Is it like
it's extremely trashy and cringy, and you're like, oh my God, this is the worst of the worst. I can't stop watching.
Yeah,
it.
you can't look away.
You know,
I can't watch that the same way that I can't watch Bridezillas, and because I have watched it,
I have watched
it
Bridezillas.
it physically raises my blood pressure to see these terrible people exist and function the way they do. So going to the 90 day, yeah. There's a pretty popular couple that came out of that. There was a Russian bride with a guy from here.
Oh yeah.
Right.
George was the guy's name. He was but
he ended up in jail, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember that
for
yeah.
tax evasion.
Yeah, but she
Anfisa.
Yeah,
is her name?
Yeah.
Dude, by the way, like me and my wife always go back and forth because she was like, "Oh, she's pretty." I'm like, "No, she's not. She's fucking ugly." But
she was kind of attractive, although she has an Instagram and she's attractive, but she's
it's all fake.
Horrible.
She's
person.
a terrible person. But my wife defended her, saying he knew what she was getting into in the relationship, and I kind of agree with that in the beginning. But at the same time, it's like, no, dude, it still does not. It does not. He lied to her. He did lie to her, and she told him what she expected, and it was all smoke and mirrors. But still, at the end of the day, dude, who does that? Who really does that in real life, dude?
Yeah.
If your significant partner were to tell you, I expect you to give me the most of the most, and then tell you, I'll leave you if you don't, how would you feel about that?
Wow.
Bye.
I mean,
I said bye.
Wow, no.
But yeah, no. Like, that's tough when you watch those shows. I mean, I know it's mostly overblown for the show, for the audience, and it's like, you know, over the top. But at the end of the day, there are somewhat of a relationship behind them. You know, they are married in real life. There's another famous Chantel and Pedro on the show. I don't know if you guys got that far into it, but there was a Dominican guy and this really pretty black girl, and they were together for years. But the problem was her family were really fucking like racist and assholes towards Pedro, and always causing conflict. So after all these years, they even got a spin-off called The Family Chantel and all this other stuff, and they just this week announced divorce.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the fame and everything has a part
Ironically,
to do with
it coincides with the canceling of the show.
Yeah, I bet. But I mean, you know, like I'm saying, rip it off. They still have relationships behind them. They're still in love, and it's kind of hard when you actually think about how everyone in this room has a relationship of one sort or another.
Speaking of, since we're all in relationships, hopefully healthy ones and not toxic and crazy ones behind closed doors, everyone has disagreements, but hopefully we're handling those healthy. So shout out to you who are mature enough to handle your relationships without throwing stuff.
George is sweating.
And for those of you here, if you're in a toxic relationship, blink twice.
We can't help you.
George,
wait, guys, why are you guys all looking down? I can't see your eyes.
He's giving me more.
There's a lot of evasive behaviors
Really
happening
quick.
right in front of me.
I want to summon the single in all of us.
The single?
Back before your relationship. I want to ask the logic behind the single you back before you were in a committed relationship. Because sometimes our answers change once we're in a relationship, but I want to know, like, from the real perspective. And I'm just going to give a trigger alert for every woman out there, because at the end of the day, Girls, you might get a little offended by the opinions that might come out, but we ain't apologizing for Jack. So, Angel, I got a question for you.
Ouch. Okay, go.
The question is it cheating if you're getting even?
Yes.
Is it cheating if you're getting even? Yes.
Yes, it is. It is.
You want to elaborate on that?
No, I mean, okay, if your partner cheated on you first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if your partner cheated on you first and you found out, I mean, that should be like either you talk it through or you just cut the ropes and get out of the relationship. You adding bullshit to it by I'm gonna get even and go cheat, it's gonna cause more damage down the line than it's worth. That relationship is already damaged. You're just adding fuel to the fire. You know,
Now it's irreparable.
Yeah. Now you're gonna fuck it up. So no.
By definition of relationships, like even if your partner does something to you and if you do, it doesn't absolve you of it. So absolutely, if you cheat and then your partner then cheats, it's not a free pass to do it. That it's not.
Yeah.
Now I think that it's a sign of toxicity if you forgive it because of that. It's a sign of like potential distability. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's a reason why cheating happened to begin with, and solving it, by cheating on the other side, it doesn't make you guys equal. It doesn't even the playing field. All it does is just, creates a new quagmire. And
giggity.
And so and so no, absolutely. It cheating on one side, cheating the other. So, when I was younger, I definitely had a different attitude about that for sure. But, I think
we all did.
When you're like in your teenage years and then in your early adult years, there's a lot of selfishness, and even developmentally speaking, we're egocentric beings, and that's not to say that people aren't able to rise above those initial developmental challenges, but the fact of the matter is that we're constantly fighting this egocentrism, and as we get older, we rationalize these things, and we're able to form healthy covenants with each other, healthy, but no, if you're out cheating and somebody else cheats as a form of like leveling playing field, wrong.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, I think unanimously I agree with you guys in your sentiments. Okay, George, your turn.
Uh-oh.
What is a healthy expectation when you buy a girl a drink?
When you buy her a drink?
Yeah. Say you're out in a bar or in a club, and you approach and you say, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?"
A healthy expectation would be good conversation, and hope that conversation will then lead to whatever outcome it is that you're looking for. But just because I buy somebody a drink doesn't mean, all right, like, gotcha.
There are guys out there who think that.
There are, and
I'm entitled.
That's a real.
Have you guys seen the
terrible
video where the girl's recording and it's a couple and she's recording, and I guess they went out to dinner on a date, and I guess the guy asked her, "So you want to go back to my place before the video starts?" And she said no, and he's like, "Okay, cool. So we'll end the date here." And then when the video starts, he actually told the waiter to split the checks. So whatever
Smart.
she had, she pays, and then she starts giving attitude, and she's like, "Your sister gonna get me to pay?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Why? Because I'm not gonna sleep with you?" She's like, "Well, are you?" And he's like, and she goes, "No." And he's like, "Okay, then split the check."
Well, especially after that.
Yeah, and they're giving attitude to each other, and like they're both in the wrong in the whole fucking relationship and that whole thing, because she's like giving attitude. She's like, "Take me home," and he's like, "You have a ride?" And I mean, they're both being dicks about it, but
yeah, for sure he's being a dick about it. But you know what I mean? Okay, so here's where it's a little controversial. I think that there's a proper way of doing that. Like if you go out on a date with somebody, the expectation is you're getting to know them, and there's not supposed to be no quid pro quo at the end of it, where like the person says, "Well, I'm taking you out, so therefore you owe me some level of like intimacy." But no, when you guys go out together. When you guys go together on a date, when it's considered a date, then whatever nice things you do in that date, sure. But if one of the persons at some point decides, okay, this isn't a date anymore, and you tell the other person, then I think that's when there should be a discussion as to then what's going to happen next. Like, okay, we're not on a date anymore. Okay, well then this is just us hanging out. So sure, let's split the check. But let's keep it nice because obviously we're not going to go beyond this, and we're just going to get to know each other as friends, and we'll probably never talk again. I personally would still pay for all of that and then, call it a day and just, I don't expect anything. But to the question to George about the drink, no, you know what? A person buys a girl a drink, the girl doesn't owe him anything other than that. I personally think a polite like no thank you at the bare minimum, and that's it. The guy should have zero expectations from another person when you buy them a drink, just zero. Like if you decide to buy a girl a drink, you made that choice, and if she is rude to you, well that sucks, but walk away, and that's the end of it. Doesn't owe you anything else. It's nice when they say, oh no thank you, I appreciate it. Cool, okay, you're welcome.
Is the buying of the drink an icebreaker? Like I haven't talked to this person, I'm just buying it in hopes that it's the conversation starter, then yeah, I agree.
For the
with
record,
you.
I've never done that.
I've done that.
I've done it. For the record, I do want to point out two things. One, I think two things can be true. I think the expectation is for conversation. So I agree with George. But I think what Enrique is saying is true as well, because in a sense, the girl is not obligated to have a conversation with you. So if you're at the end of the bar and you buy her a drink and then you make the approach and she's like, no, thank you, then I think you should get up and walk away. Yeah, but I think if you're listening, ladies, don't accept the drink if you don't want the conversation. It's clear his intention is being made when he buys you the drink. And this, I'm getting into this because I want us to talk about these healthy relationships, because how do people not know this stuff? Like, why is everything so toxic today? Have you guys heard about the lady who refused to let her baby daddy give her son McDonald's because he didn't bring her any?
No, because he didn't bring any to her other kids that are not his.
Yeah,
and then she tried to defend it after that, saying no, he did it before when we were together, he should still do it now. And it's like,
wait a minute, repeat that one again, because I kind of missed something in that, and so
okay, there's a video where she's supposedly trying to expose her one of her baby daddies. She has 4 kids. One of them is his, and they're not dating anymore. So he shows up with a bag of McDonald's and a drink
for his kid. Got it.
And she is recording the whole thing because she's already like, I'm going to expose you for being the scumbag that you are.
Okay.
And she's telling him, how come you didn't bring any food for my other kids? How come you only brought for him? And he's like, well, he's my kid. And she goes, well, what about my other kids? He's like, well, then you feed them. And then she's like, I don't get my food stamps until the blah, blah, blah. And she's going off on that, like if it's his responsibility to feed her kids. I could see both point of views, but her point, the way she did it was very shitty. It was a very trashy way of doing it.
100%.
What he could have said, what he could have done, been like, "Hey, look, I don't have enough money for all your kids, but can I take my kid to McDonald's just for a couple minutes, or can he come to the car and eat with me and chill and we talk?"
Yeah,
that's the way you do it. Not fucking like the little spite they have.
Right.
They're both in the wrong. I mean, the guy not as much as the girl. I'm going to be honest, but they're both in the wrong. The guy was not thinking about the other kids. And then she got so much flack that she actually went back on and she did a video where she's like, well, I have to defend myself because first of all, see, when we were together, he would bring food for the kids. The kids know him. And now that we're not together, he's just cut them off entirely. Which, I mean, it is fucked up, but it's one of the things that when you're dating someone with children, it's going to happen. Yeah. I just don't think he should have done it that way.
I
really
agree.
Don't. I really don't.
That's a tough one because on one hand, when you have a relationship with somebody, all of the stuff that's attached to
all
it,
the baggage goes with it. Yeah.
And so of course you're going to do a little bit more. But once that relationship has been severed, his focus is his own kid, and there is a kind way to do that. On one hand, I can see how hurtful that could be to the other kids, especially if they've already known him.
Right.
They might feel left out. It might be hurtful, and that's true. But I think your suggestion is a good one. Hey, when you go visit your kid, instead, I'm going to take my kid out to lunch because this is my time with my kid, right? And there's that way to do it. That is the more polite way to do it.
Yeah.
So either way, though, the lady was the most wrong because she's trying to turn it into something that it's just clearly not.
She's just trying to,
and that's
win
messed
a
up.
fight.
But that's the problem, though, to begin with. I think that a lot of times people are constantly trying to push on their own what they believe is the answer to a solution or whatever. They try to push it on and create this narrative that's very toxic. And I mean, I hate when that happens. That's to me, it's a very upsetting thing. Part of the reason why I can't watch those shows. You know what I'm saying?
Like my wife says, communication is key in every relationship, no matter which one it is. You know, be it with your family, be it with your mother, your father, your coworkers. It's all about communication. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm the kind of guy that I shut down when there's things that are really bugging me. I don't like talking about them because it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And she's the one who actually made me open up a lot more. She's the first one who made me go, yeah, I have a problem with depression. Like, before her, I wouldn't talk about it. Like, Enrique, you've known me for years. I never told you straight out that I had it. Doyle, you guys, George, you guys known me for years, and I never talked about it. It was her who made me realize that by defining it, by actually confronting it, it helps me. And it does. It did help me in a sense. But communication is key in every relationship. If you don't talk about it, or you try to hide things, or even if it's something stupid like I ate a hamburger today and I wasn't supposed to, like, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And I mean, as hard as it is, sometimes you just got to
tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is.
Or as Bernie Mac would say, tell it like it T.I. is.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, relationships are hard. And no relationship is easy peasy. Some are harder than others. Some are toxic as fuck. My ex and me, that was a fucking, I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was one that is like, Jesus Christ. Like, if you were in a textbook of everything wrong in a relationship, it's like check. You know what I mean? It happens, and then you find the one that is like it works perfectly. Those are the ones that you have to find. The ones that you want someone that you don't have to actually work at as hard as it is with others. I mean, we always have to work with it. Like, I have to work my relationship with you guys. Like, even off the air, I still have to like
work harder.
I know. I got to work a lot harder. But that's my point. Friendships come and go. I've had friendships that I've had for like 15, 16 years, and then because of one or two circumstances, they go away. Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen that movie Hitch?
One time.
Okay. Presumably everyone's seen it, or at least knows about it. Will Smith,
the
Hitch.
Oscar slapper.
Sure.
Will Smith.
Does not make this about him.
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
No, I haven't
Eva
seen that
Mendes.
Eva Mendes.
Okay.
He's Will Smith is like a relationship coach, which helps like losers have relationships basically, and he's like smooth and this and that. And Kevin James is a guy who like never dated or something like that. And oh my god, I've only seen it once, and I know all this shit.
It's not a deep movie, so
it really isn't.
The plot really resonated with him.
And Will Smith is basically like, you guys remember Tom Likas? He's kind of like a Tom Likas, but without being such a douchebag about it. He's just like, more of a smooth Tom Likas, like a suave Tom Likas. And he's teaching Kevin James how to be smooth and suave. But then isn't it Eva Mendes who comes into the picture and Will Smith becomes a bumbling idiot? Is that what it is?
Pretty much. And the movie is about like both of the guys like not being good at dating when they meet these girls that they actually fall for.
When feelings get involved,
so they break all
muddy.
They break all the rules of picking up, and that's actually what I was going to ask, is because there's a whole community of people out there who are called pickup artists who have all these techniques on approach and picking up women in bars and clubs and things like that, and they figured out all these good techniques in order to get to know women and whatnot.
But you said it, they're techniques. It's all fake.
Sure.
It's all pizzazz, and at the end of the
There's
day,
a question coming.
They never hold relationships down because at the end of the day, they're not being their true selves.
This is something that I will challenge every man who's listening. You can get plenty of women. Can you keep one?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That is a question that I think that in today's world and in today's society, that manhood needs to be challenged to ask that question.
I know.
That's a really great.
I know
way of putting
somebody.
it.
I know somebody close to me, and not in this room, but I know someone that always has juggling 3 women, minimum 3 women.
Are they all ugly?
No.
That was a valid question, by the way.
Yeah, that was a valid question, but no. Some are not bad looking, but he has always 3 women, and they're always rotating. But he's divorced. He lives alone, and he has no family whatsoever. And yeah, they have moments of darkness, and they're like, no one loves me. But it's like you caused it yourself.
There are like those techniques. Speaking to earlier, I mean, yes, they absolutely work because they take advantage. They exploit very basic things about human psychology. I mean, little things like when you approach somebody, you're approaching them with confidence. Absolutely, that's attractive. Or like when you do like something like when you're talking to somebody and you create a sort of sense of intimacy that's not obtrusive, that works. Like for example, like I remember when I was in my 20s and I would talk to women at bars. There's one thing that I would do is I would find a way to touch their shoulder or their elbow in
even with a restraining order.
Did you ask for consent?
Well, in
Hashtag me too.
What I'm saying though, no, in a sense of like to highlight a point. Like let's say we're talking, and then they would say something, and it would be like literally like a tap. It's not like I'm grabbing them and holding them and pushing them in, because hell no. I'm just saying though, a sign
That's
of like
my purse. I don't know you.
Those are
Right.
angels' techniques.
No,
That's only how I met you, Doyle.
but the reason why
Exactly.
those things would work is because it would, for a second, you would be breaking through a person's bubble, but then you would retreat from it, and it would actually liven. There would be more of an opportunity to talk, and that doesn't always work, but stuff like that does work. But again, they just meant to be ways to talk to somebody, get to know them. You even
Icebreakers.
see it like in just platonic relationships when people meet. Like think when two people business like successful business relationships all function on how relationships between them work. I mean, the Japanese had a whole book about it that shaped like our business culture in the late 50s, early 60s because of it. I think the book was called The Chrysanthemum, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. But the idea was that there are certain niceties that we need to do that help us. But the question is, and I like that Doyle said that, is, but can we keep relationships once we make the initial hook, if you will? And that's the problem. I think a lot of times, and that was one of my bigger problems, is that I wasn't able to, because for whatever reasons, that was very difficult for me in my younger youth. After me and my first separated, for me to be able to make genuine connections and hold on to them. A lot of it was my own frailties, for sure.
I think as we mature, we do develop into better human beings, and then we learn how to do that. Because for us as men, I think it's hardwired into our system to go out and try to conquer as many women as we can. But then you like mature and you realize like, I don't need as many women as I can get. I need one good quality one, especially after you're in one of those toxic relationships. And so I was asking because I was going to say, do you think it's authentic if you start a relationship based on those techniques, which may or may not actually be a part of your personality? Because personally, I have used techniques, but I didn't even realize that they were techniques until I studied a little bit of this phenomenon. And then I realized, like Enrique, one of the things that they do teach is escalating of touch. So you are going to touch the shoulder, then the elbow, and then maybe the lower of the back. But none of the touches are
And then the ear canal.
None of these things are in a sexual way until you make the move. But the escalation of touch is supposed to increase comfort so that the girl feels more comfortable being touched. So by the time you kiss her. And so is that manipulative? Is that... What do you guys think?
Well, here's the thing. Like, so that all comes up from what's called mutualism. Mutualism is the idea where you start to you start to mimic behavior. So when somebody, for example, is interested in what you're saying because they will give you some visuals to show that they're interested in what you're saying. Be it like be it platonically or be it romantically. There's signs, and so a person will often and mind you, this is similar to anybody who's like, is the reason why like sociopaths are able to pick up on these little signs and exploit them, because they are exploitable. That's the thing. These things are exploitable. These techniques in order to talk to people. But the question then is, can you turn those into functioning relationships? And I think that some people do. I would say that not everybody is out to just bag every woman and hurt them. But I think that ultimately somebody does start a relationship that way, and it ultimately turns it into a successful one. But here's the thing. When you usually will get a sign from somebody that they're interested in what you're doing, and that's when that escalation thing sort of starts happening. You can see, like, for example, like a person will start to sort of mimic their body position will be much closer to you, and that's sort of like a first sign of like they might be interested in what you're saying.
I think Enrique actually studied some of this stuff because
I feel
it's
underqualified.
It's called mirroring, and
Yeah.
it is a real thing.
Yeah.
But he is correct. It was actually when I was studying serial killers and sociopaths that
Studying or becoming one?
no, maybe. But it was when I was actually doing a study on serial killers and sociopaths that I found.
Why'd you look at George when he said sociopath?
No comment.
Children do this, by the way. That's the reason why. I mean, my bachelor's is in child development, and children do this when they're forming healthy bonds with each other. They start to mimic, they model, they learn through modeling.
Yeah.
Lev Vygotsky was a Russian developmental theorist, and his stuff is very influential in how his stuff is called the social learning theory, and the idea that we learn much more when we work in small groups with other people, right? And the idea is that yes, mirroring does happen. It's a thing that happens where they start to mimic what you're saying or what you're doing, and now that is supposed to meant to disarm a person and make them feel
More comfortable.
More comfortable. And so,
Which is the key technique to getting women comfortable, or to get them in bed, so to speak, in this pickup world.
That's
is
creepy,
making them comfortable. Watching Jersey Shore when
my
I
God.
did, yes. Hey, you watch 90 Day, okay? It's just as bad.
No,
Anyway,
no. Jersey Shore is a step up from 90 Days.
hold on. There was a technique that I noticed that it was never talked about and it wasn't a thing. But what's the guy's name? The Situation, Mike. Every time he would take a girl home, he'd give them pajamas because he wanted them to get comfortable. And I don't know if he knew this as a technique, but it is like sociopathic because he's like, yeah, make yourself comfortable. And 9 times out of 10, the girls wouldn't leave because now they're in his clothes, they're in his pajamas, they're comfortable, they're more like chilling and having drinks, and they're more likely to just sit back and relax. And so eventually, hey, want to go into my room and sure, why not? Yeah. And so I don't know if there was any sexual assault involved in that, but it is a technique to bring a girl to that point where she's willing to get into bed with him. Does that mean she consented to any activities that happened after that? We don't know, and I'm not insulting the guy. Yeah, but just saying that is part of the whole community, and is that manipulative? If you know as a man that you're trying to get a woman comfortable for the sake of sleeping with her, but you really have no interest, or you're not being genuine in order to create that comfort, is that manipulative? Is that kind of like a douche move? Or is it on the girl to like read you and figure that out for herself?
I don't know. I really wish we had a female here for the female perspective on that point.
Part 2.
Because part 2. There's, all these are going to be part 2. But that's a really good point. Like, I mean, I myself see it like it's part of the dating kind of thing. But at the
Ladies,
same time, it is a
comment
little,
below.
This was said below. It's hard. It really is.
Oh, make it soft, buddy.
I'll show you something to make it soft. But no,
There's
and
a doctor for that.
there's a doctor for. There's an ointment for that.
There's some
Apparently
cream
there's a
for that.
Some cream.
According to Enrique over there. We'll talk off air. But
Nah, bro. I need witnesses for that conversation.
they'll join in. But okay, so we're all in good relationships. We've had bad relationships, right?
Sure.
We've all had toxic ones. I've had 2. I don't know about you guys, but I know I had 2. Enrique, you've had 1.
I've been in. I was
2.
that guy.
You're
I was that guy for some years.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I had one toxic relationship, but it was more, I had one where she was the toxic one. Then I had a really good relationship that I became toxic at the end.
That makes sense.
And they just so happened to go one from
Interlope.
the other. I think it was like maybe I was tired of being abused because of that other relationship, and then I got into that other relationship, and then I just was like, that's enough, and became this raging idiot.
Right.
By the way, all these questions come from a website called Girls Ask Guys. And so these are questions that women ask men because they want to know the answers.
You want to give one more real quick?
I got one more.
Did Enrique answer one?
No,
Yeah,
and
this is for Enrique.
I do have
Keep
a
it short,
question
though.
for Enrique. Enrique, in a relationship, who should say "I love you" first?
Wow. I've always would say it first when I felt it. I think when you feel it, but I guess maybe the guy should be the first one to say it for the sake of, like the idea is that once a guy says it, it's because it's a very difficult thing for them to say. I mean, if you buy into the stereotypes of it, guys are the guy should be the first one to say it so that it's genuine. But I've always said it first when I felt it, when I genuinely felt it. Yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I agree.
There's-
No, I don't agree. No, I don't agree. I mean, for me myself, I think it puts us out on a limb, and I think it might be. I can see your point, but it'd be nice if, for once, it's the woman who says it. It takes point. It's the same thing as it'd be nice if the woman, for once, makes the approach, buys you the drink.
Okay, so, let me just ask this: has anybody ever watched the movie The Warriors?
Yes.
Do you guys kind of feel like we're being
Yes.
hunted right now by the baseball Furies? That little background song that's coming out.
Warriors come out to play.
I was trying to figure out what that noise reminded me of, and I'm so glad you said that because I was lost for a second.
Can you dig it? Can you?
Yeah. Anyway, but
Love
yeah.
that movie.
Who were
But-
the broads in that movie?
Yeah.
Yes,
What were they
the
called?
Lizzies. The Lizzies.
The Lizzies?
But remember there was some
Broads.
sexual abuse in that that movie too. I think that's why it got canceled.
Canceled.
They
Cancel the
arrested.
Warriors?
Yeah. No, they didn't cancel it, but like they don't play it on TV because of that scene
There's
where what's his name?
Ajax.
Ajax grabs the girl
Yeah.
by the arm and he's super aggressive,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Dude, like relax." And she's a cop,
Yeah.
and she's like aggressively trying to get away because she
Yeah.
feels that uncomfortable. Like this dude's a rapist.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no questions Ajax was gonna rape that girl. He
Yeah.
was like, "You can give it to me." Like, "Hey, dude, calm down. You just met her. She's sitting at a bench."
Yeah.
They actually, I don't know, I haven't looked up into it, but they've been trying to get a remake of that movie for the last 12 years.
Don't do it.
Longer than that.
Don't
The
do it.
movie,
Yeah.
Since the 90s.
It's
But
in the 90s. Yeah, they've been trying to do
Nah.
it. They did make a great video game
So-
out
Yes,
yes.
but if they make a movie, I don't want them trying to like get the old cast and bring them back. If anything, it should be
of
like
it. Well, Can You Dig It died.
yeah. There's a lot of people in that
Yeah.
cast that probably died.
Yeah.
But if they try to remake that movie, just don't do it. Just don't do
Yeah.
it. It's a classic. Leave it a classic. Leave it a
Yeah.
one-off. You don't have to remake everything that was good once. Just let it be what it is. That way, I
Mhm.
can go back and it's called
Rewatch it. Yeah.
yeah. It's called
If-
nostalgia.
If they happen to remake it, I would watch it because I would want to see what they do with it.
Yeah, me too.
Knowing though that
Yeah.
I probably will always like it won't ever like cancel the original for me. I love
No.
the original.
The original's
It's a
amazing.
classic. I will
Yeah.
watch it.
I
love
might
that
cancel
it's-
the new one.
I love that the whole inspiration for it, besides being a book, but that the actual movie itself is more of it's based off of or at least inspired by an old I guess Roman story of like a band of warriors
300?
making their way from. No, it's actually the idea was that it's based on is it Clytus? This group-
Cletus.
Clytus, I think. So these guys go to a summit to talk peace, and it turns out that it was a trap, and they end up trying to fight their way from one coast back to their homeland, and all along the way fighting different armies. Along the way, they're trying to hunt them down, and so essentially, it is inspired by that. That's what the
That's pretty
director
cool.
writer. It's very cool. So just make that. I'd rather see that. Make the Roman movie.
They should make more historical films like that. Like the fact that Game of Thrones is actually War of the Roses. Like
Yeah.
they should really just do the actual event and stop trying to make it over the top. But I guess you have to nowadays.
You got to
get
do the fantasy
people-
stuff to make
yeah.
it fun because
Yeah,
people
I
won't
guess
watch
so.
it.
Like
Won't watch
300 was
biopics.
fantasy, yeah, but still.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
the reason
sense.
why 300 was cool though, because while it is based on a real story, it was presented very fantastically, so it made it fun. I dig that.
Yeah. Speaking of digging, okay, you got one more question for yourself?
Oh wow! For me, would I?
Is he
ever-
going to ask himself a question?
Yeah, that is up from the list.
Well, I am reading from a website, so these are questions that women have for men, not Doyle
Yeah.
has for you guys. I already know the answers to half of this. I'm with you guys. I just wanted to see what you guys had, but I guess I could answer this last question, which is, and this goes back to single. Remember, this was supposed to be the single us.
Oh,
Would
single
you
ladies.
ever date a woman with an STD? And I'm gonna give you a resounding hey.
No.
No.
I wouldn't have.
but I
even if
understand the
considered
question.
She had back knee.
But at what point do you find out?
Yeah.
That's a very relevant point. But I understand the question. I think the question is like, do you discriminate because she has an STD kind of thing? Like if she was living with like herpes, but she like had like, you know, what is it? Treatments. Or maybe she wasn't flared up when you first met her. Would you just, is that any immediate like deal breaker?
Deal breaker.
Yeah, because you never know when it happens, or she forgot to take her freaking med, or whatever the heck.
Well, what if it's like a
a lot of risk.
non-transferable like STD?
Like
Is
what?
it-
Are
they?
they?
No,
Are
there's
they?
no such thing.
Okay, they never.
By definition, STDs
STD
are
is
transferable.
transmitted
But-
disease.
Transmittable.
But here's the thing, like, so you have stuff like HPV, which is prevalent, and most people, there's a big majority. I forget what the percentage is. Same thing
I am
with
wrong.
the same thing with herpes. I mean, there's a large. It's a staggering large amount of people that have it. So,
Why are you looking at George again?
Because I don't know. Do you have?
Herb free is the way to be.
Okay, I gotta ask a serious question. Think of the hottest girl you can. Like, I mean,
Still
she's
no.
perfect in everything. Perfect boobs, perfect butt, perfect face, perfect hair, perfect everything. Just
She can do my taxes.
all the physical things that you like.
a weird list.
Her personality is amazing. It's immaculate. Like she makes you enjoy life just that much more, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're getting ready to sleep with her, and she goes, "I got to tell you something. I have crabs." Would you still do it?
You said crabs?
Crabs.
You can just shave yourself.
I would just shave.
So, would you date a woman with an STD? I think everyone just changed their answer to yes, because I thought about that just now. Crabs, except for Enrique.
But
Enrique
crabs
is still.
is not a
Yes, it is.
disease.
It's not a disease. It's a parasite.
As
It's-
pubic lice.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's still classified as an STD.
Yeah, it is.
So, would you?
wrong.
If she
wrongly
said I have
classified.
crabs, I'd be like, okay, honey, let's go to the bath real quick and just trim that, and then let's. I would wait to get rid of the crabs and then be like, Bob's your uncle.
Well, first of all, wouldn't she be like? I can't imagine her being very comfortable in the
Yeah,
moment of
she's
this
itchy.
coitus.
I know.
She's probably scratching
Oh,
the
baby,
crap
you're so
out of-
hot.
You know, and so
She tells you
Oh.
before you get them in your beard.
Oh, baby.
so I'm more like her commitment to the bit. Like I'm down to clown. So I'm gonna scratch the shit out of myself while I do this. So let's do this. I mean, right off the bat, there's a lot wrong with this story. So I'm just gonna say no. I mean,
I just picture
girl, you're-
picture sex from the point of view of the crabs. Oh my god!
It's coming right for us.
Run! Hold me!
Look, all I know is I'm joining the pickle game. This is me single, not me now who's married, who I love my wife very much, and she is my perfect woman. But me back being single, I probably would have, like, you know, it's crabs. It's
I would've
cream.
been- you would've- you
I
would've
could
been
go
like-
talk-
seafood.
I
It's
could
just seafood.
I could go talk to Enrique's doctor and get a cream for that. Good on crabs.
You would have been like, but does your hand have crabs?
Oh, for the love of God.
How about your
You
mouth?
guys are nasty. I mean, you know, like,
Hey,
okay.
we're being honest here.
And so,
He just described the perfect, your perfect everything.
Yeah.
And all she had was
Crabs.
a couple pubic lice.
I think we can wait for
I
her
think we
to,
can
like,
make
get
a
that thing
relationship
cleared up.
work.
Like, I'm hoping she's telling me this in the midst of this thing because she's like telling me like let's wait, and at that point I'd be like, hey, cool, let's
But
wait.
what if because you're like, let's wait. But what if it was a situation where you're on like some exotic vacation and you just met her and
Still
then
wait,
this is the
dude.
last.
I would be
Sorry.
pretty
This
pissed
is
off
the
that she
last
didn't tell me
ta-
this when we booked that
No,
vacation.
no. You meet her at wherever it is you go vacation, and now tomorrow you're leaving.
It is realistic to meet some exotic woman on like a cruise, and then you get off the cruise and you're like, dang, that woman
You've
is
been watching too many movies.
amazing. Have you been to Colombia? There are some gorgeous women down there. I mean, it is very easy to conceive that you would find someone who is like, whoa. And then just maybe you're on vacation, you're in that mood, you're having like
flight leaves
just-
tomorrow.
Yeah, and you're just like, and she's like, look, I got to tell you something. I got crabs. And you're just like, wait up, hold up. And you gotta contemplate. I got 30 seconds to either go to join the pickle gang and put the pickle down, or you know what I'm saying, like back off and just leave and not get none. But you're on vacation. I'm on vacation. I want some mushu.
The views of Doyle are the views of every man in existence.
Is women? Is mushu just like a code word for what I think it is, or is it
Mushu?
Mushu guy fine.
You don't jump in front of a black man in the buffet line.
Because I'm hearing pickle and mushu, and I'm just like, I can't pick a target. They're all moving.
Oh my god.
Okay, last question. Have you ever pressed the pickle up against the window?
What?
Wait. Is that like the banana thing I say at the end?
Kind of, but it's like, you know, like you're in the shower, you're like, hey, baby, what's up? And you
To-
press the pickle up against the window.
To what end? Like, what is it supposed?
Your end on the window. That's the end.
That's how you keep them. You know what I mean? It's cheaper to keep her.
I
Just
think-
press
I think-
the pickle up against the window. Hey, girl, you see that? See that? No?
No,
one? Okay.
no, you're alone on that one, buddy.
Just for just for the fact, I have never done that either. I was asking for a friend.
He was trying to get somebody to
Christina,
out
you're
themselves.
invited to the next episode because we have questions.
No, she's not.
No, let's bring people
But-
together, not apart.
Let's enter back into our relationship mode because we're going to go home to our significant others who are amazing women.
No, I lucked out. I really did. She downgraded to me, and and I feel so bad for her. But she's awesome. Every relationship that I can think about, friendship with you guys, we have a great relationship. That's awesome. Co-workers. I mean, I had some good co-workers in the past that I still keep contact with. So that they become friends.
Except for Nancy.
Hey, Nancy Face, and then Marilena as well, and then. Yeah, good times, man. I'm glad we all got out of the bad relationships, and right now in our life, we're all in good relationships. If you guys want to give shout-outs to your significant others, that'd be awesome. Let's start with George, of course. We'll go in the same order we always go.
Baby, I love you, and I can't wait for our little one to get here.
Yay. Enrique?
Yeah, hi, Cecilia. I know you're listening.
Sissy,
Miss you.
run.
Yeah,
You can do so much better.
that's
So much better.
that's way true, by the way.
Yeah.
I think all of our significant others could do so much better.
Right?
Just being honest. I think that's every guy's story. You know, like, what makes a woman stick with us?
I have no idea.
Every married man has no answer to that question, but every married woman contemplates it all the time. Speaking of married women, I want to shout out my beautiful wife, Christina, who compliments my life in every way.
Hey, Christina.
Yes, I know it's a little cheesy, but she really does, and my life has been better for it. We actually just celebrated 5 years of marriage, which is
5
Congratulations.
years,
Yeah,
that's
congratulations,
awesome,
man.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah, yay.
Slow clap, slow clap, slow clap. That's awesome. And of course, to my wonderful, gorgeous mother of 4, my Valerie. I love you to death, Baba. And I'll see you soon so you could get annoyed by my stupidness.
She's in for a long night.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to shout out Undercity because I missed them and I remember that place, and it was a great comic book shop and great
still
atmosphere. Even though none of I'm just saying because we haven't recorded there in a while, and that's our home away from home. So shout out Undercity Comics.
We should do one soon.
Shout out to Renee.
Renee.
Shout
Shout out to
Renee.
the Keeping Up with the Nerd gang from that podcast and the Into the Void gang. And yeah. That's about. Oh, let's give shout outs to some of the people that have been here before. Cisco 3000.
Cisco. What's up, Cisco?
Let's
Marty.
not forget Marty.
Marty McFly.
Yeah, don't forget the glam vamp herself.
Adil.
Brenda. Adil. In India. Hello. Let's say.
Actually, he's back.
He's back again.
He's back. He's now in Arizona.
Freaking bipolar mofo.
Hey, it was a battle for him to get back in the country, but he got here.
Did he change his ways after hearing himself?
Yeah.
Actually, he left and he got married.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Yes, and
to
now
him.
he's married.
Even
and
after
he's
that
back.
podcast?
Yes. She didn't hear it before she got married. Now it's too late.
It's too late.
Oh, wow.
Angel.
What?
The
Oh,
other
Angel. Angel Cop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Angel.
I just saw him last week.
Shout out Angel.
Yeah,
Shout out
Angel.
to Fabio, that fool.
Hey, that's me. You asked. And then shout out who else? Who else do we have here? I think that's everybody that we've had, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
We need more guests.
We do need more guests.
But
Eventually.
anyway,
Comment below if you would like to be a guest. That doesn't mean
And
you're
then,
going to be a guest.
And on that note, what's in that cream, Enrique? What's in that cream?
Not
Bananas.
It goes
it
on
bananas?
the bananas. What are you talking about?
I'm going to go press the pickle.
Good night, everybody.
Mushu.